Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Motorcycle Sports Radio, bringing you the best in motorcycle sports.
Hello and welcome to the 2016 MotoGP season preview on Motorcycle Sports Radio. I'm Simon McCready. Cheers for joining us today. Hope that you're keeping well. Now, it won't be too long until MotoGP is upon us again. Will we see a repeat of last year's shenanigans between Rossi and Marquez? We certainly, as fans, hope not. Hope that never ever happens again. But it will be time soon for it all kick off again. So in today's preview, we're going to be bringing you all the latest news from all of the latest testing from MotoGP, and we're going to take a look at the riders and teams as well as your dates for the 2016 season. So I can't wait for it to get started. Let's kick off now with some news.
You're listening to Motorcycle Sports Radio because two wheels are far better.
And in our first story from the MotoGP.com website, Rossi has said he is happy as he ends Tuesday's Sepang test in 6th place, but he is still undecided on which version of the Yamaha M1 he prefers. Rossi had a positive second day at the Malaysian test as the session was red flagged for the majority of the morning following Baz's crash. The doctor was fully committed to making up for lost time, however. When he returned to the track, he made a good step with his setup and consistently improved his time, dropping under his best lap from yesterday by almost 0.7 seconds. He spent the afternoon testing various tyre options and completed a total of 54 laps, setting a personal best of 2 minutes 1 second, 0.21 seconds, which was enough for 6th place. The 3-day Sepang test concludes on Wednesday with the action kicking off at 10 a.m. local time.
This is Motorcycle Sports Radio, bringing you the best in motorcycle sports.
And in our next story from Crash.net, Casey Stoner has said he's getting comfortable on the Ducati after Tuesday's Sepang tests. Tuesday at Sepang saw double MotoGP champion Casey Stoner ride alongside the full-time MotoGP field for the first time since his retirement at the end of 2012. A few days earlier, the 30-year-old Australian had made an impressive return to Ducati, the factory for which he won his first world title in 2007 during a private test at the Malaysian circuit. Stoner finished Tuesday's official test in 9th position using last year's GP15 bike, having reached a peak of 8th during the day, but lap times were distorted by Loris Baz's huge morning accident, which resulted in the soft rear tyre being removed from use. Stoner's time was just over 2 minutes, and it was set on the 37th of his 45 laps using the hard rear tyre. It put him just over a thousandth of a second behind Pramac Ducati pace setter Danilo Petrucci, who ran on the soft rear tyre from the fastest hard tyre lap by Yamaha's world champion Jorge Lorenzo. Stoner looked to be faster than the other Ducati riders on the hard tyre. Petrucci, for example, did not break the 2-minute 2-second barrier after his morning flyer, with teammate Scott Redding 7th after setting a 2-minute 1.8 second in the closing stages of the day.
You're listening to Motorcycle Sports Radio. Remember to like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Motorcycle Sports Radio, and on Twitter, it's @Bike Sports Radio. That's @Bike Sports Radio. Keep it on Motorcycle Sports Radio.
You can also get Motorcycle Sports Radio on iTunes and on TuneIn, so don't forget, wherever you go, you can take Motorcycle Sports Radio with you.
And staying with Crash.net for our next story, Loris Baz is said to be lucky to have walked away from his horror smash at Sepang testing. Loris Baz's Avintia racing team confirmed that no mechanical failure was detected on his Ducati following the Frenchman's terrifying 180-mile-an-hour spill on the second day of the Sepang MotoGP test. Baz came off on the main straight and a tyre failure was later put forward as the cause of the accident, with Michelin withdrawing the soft rear compound used by Baz at the time of his accident. The incident caused a delay of more than an hour, but fortunately Baz escaped without injury despite the high speed involved. A statement from Avintia said fortunately he walked away without injury, and after analysing all of the data of the bike, no mechanical failure was detected on his Ducati, and it is now up to Michelin to analyse in detail what the cause of this tyre failure was. Baz, who had lapped in just over 2 minutes 2 seconds on his 12th lap as he ended the day 18th following his accident, admitted he had been fortunate. The start of the day was good, he said. We used a soft tyre to try and improve the lap times, and although the lap was not incredible, we were able to improve the lap time from yesterday. But when we had a problem with the rear tyre and I crashed at 290 kilometres an hour, 180 miles per hour, and my bike was destroyed. Fortunately, I was unhurt. But you always lose energy after this kind of accident, because even if you don't have anything serious, you feel like all of your muscles have been training for the last 20 hours. He said his mechanics made a great job to put the bike back on the track for the last 2 hours. It was not bad, but I felt a little bit tired riding the bike and I didn't want to push and crash again. He said he matched the same lap time from yesterday, testing some suspension parts that he didn't like too much. There are suspicions that Avintia may have been running the rear tyre under the recommended pressure, but the team insisted. Avintia Racing has always followed the recommendations of engineers assigned to the team by the French tyre manufacturer. Tyre pressure sensors, which will log tyre pressure in real time, are expected to be made compulsory for the start of the season.
You're listening to Motorcycle Sports Radio, because two wheels are far better.
And staying with Crash.net for our next story, Bradley Smith has made a big improvement on the second day of Sepang tests. Bradley Smith improved his lap time by 1.5 seconds on the monster Yamaha Tech 3 M1 after running the hard compound Michelin rear tyre throughout the second day of the Sepang MotoGP test. The British rider never had a chance to use the soft rear in the afternoon after Michelin withdrew the compound in the wake of Baz's horror crash at 180 miles per hour, which we have just spoken about. Smith, though, was more than pleased with his performance in Malaysia. He lapped in just over 2 minutes 1 second to finish 10th fastest behind Ducati test rider Casey Stoner.
You're listening to Motorcycle Sports Radio. Remember to download the Spreaker app and follow us on Spreaker to be kept up to date with all of our latest broadcasts.
World champion Jorge Lorenzo has said he feels better than he did at this stage last year. MotoGP world champion Jorge Lorenzo sounded an early ominous warning for his Premier Class rivals after revealing that he feels stronger already than he did last season. Lorenzo feels the new Michelin tyres enable him to maximise his full potential on the movie star Yamaha M1 as the Mallorcan proved his pace again on day 2 of the official Sepang test, albeit finishing second quickest by 0.6 of a second behind surprise Pierce setter Petrucci on the Ducati. He said it's only 2 days at Sepang. We will have to wait and see what happens in Phillip Island and what happens in Qatar, but the conclusion we have now in 2 days is that I feel better than I did last year. He said he doesn't know how long he's going to keep the feeling of feeling better in the future, but for the moment he feels better with the Michelin tyre than he does with the Bridgestones.
This is Motorcycle Sports Radio, bringing you the best in motorcycle sports.
And in our final story from Autosport.com, a story by Mitchell Adam confirms that Jorge Lorenzo is the fastest man on the final day of testing at Sepang. With just over an hour remaining, he has set the fastest lap with a 1 minute 59.580 seconds. Indeed, that is his third lap of the test under 2 minutes, beating everybody else. So there you go. The reigning world champion is the top man at the final day of Sepang tests. They move on to Phillip Island for testing now on February the 17th to the 19th. And just to confirm your fastest men, the fastest top 6 for the final day of testing at Sepang. Number 1 was Lorenzo with a 1 minute 59.580 second, as we've said. Then we had Valentino Rossi, Marc Marquez, Cal Crutchlow, Casey Stoner and Danny Pedrosa.
You're listening to Motorcycle Sports Radio. Remember to like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Motorcycle Sports Radio. And on Twitter, it's at Bike Sports Radio. That's at Bike Sports Radio. Keep it on Motorcycle Sports Radio.
You can also get Motorcycle Sports Radio on iTunes and on TuneIn. So don't forget, wherever you go, you can take Motorcycle Sports Radio with you.
So a look now, ladies and gentlemen, at your 2016 MotoGP riders and their teams, courtesy of the MotoGP.com website. Firstly, we have Andrea Dovizioso, who is Italian, and he will be racing for the Ducati racing team. Then we have the German Stefan Bradl, who will be racing for the Gresini Aprilia team. Then we have Spaniard Hector Barbera, who will be racing for the Avintia Racing Ducati. Then we have Italian Danilo Petrucci, who will be racing for the Pramac Ducati team. Then we have Alex De Angelis, who will be racing on the Art bike, the Adora Racing project. Then we have Spaniard Alvaro Batusta, who will be racing for the Gresini Aprilia team. Then we have Spaniard Maverick Vinales, who will be racing for Team X-Star Suzuki. Then we have Spaniard Dani Pedrosa, who of course will be lighting up once more for the Honda Racing team, the Repsol team. Then we have Italian Andrea Inioni, who will be racing for Ducati. Then we have Brit Cal Crutchlow, who will be on the Satellite LCR Honda. Then we have another Brit, Bradley Smith, who will be on the Satellite Monster Yamaha Tech 3 bike. Then Alicia Spargo, the Spaniard, will be on the Team X-Star Suzuki as well. Then we have Australian Jack Miller, who will be on the Mark VDS Racing Team Honda. Then we have Alice's brother Paul on the Monster Yamaha Tech 3. And then we have Brett Scott Redding on the Octo Pramac Racing Ducati as well. Then of course we have Valentino Rossi on the Movistar Yamaha MotoGP bike, and then we have Irishman Eugene Laverty on the Aspar MotoGP Team Ducati. Then we have Spaniard Tito Rabat moving of course from Moto2 on the Estrella Garcia Honda. Then we have Yoni Hernandez, the Colombian, at the Aspar MotoGP Team Ducati. Then we have Frenchman Loris Baz on the Avintia Racing Ducati following his crash on Tuesday. And then we have Spaniard Marc Marquez, the Repsol Honda team, of course. And then, of course, your world champion, Spaniard Jorge Lorenzo, for the Movistar Yamaha MotoGP Yamaha team. And that is your riders and their teams provisionally for the 2016 MotoGP season.
You're listening to Motorcycle Sports Radio. Remember to download the Spreaker app and follow us on Spreaker to be kept up to date with all of our latest broadcasts.
And finally, ladies and gentlemen, we'll want to take a look at the circuits and your dates for the 2016 season. And we are pleased to tell you that it all kicks off again on the 20th of March at Lusail International Circuit in Qatar. Then it's off to Argentina on the 3rd of April. On the 10th of April, it's the United States. On the 24th of April, it's Jerez in Spain. On the 8th of May, it's Le Mans in France. On the 22nd of May, it's Mugello, Italy. On the 5th of June, it's Catalonia in Spain. On the 26th of June, it's TT Circuit Assen in the Netherlands. On the 17th of July, it's Sachsenring, Germany. On the 14th of August, it's Red Bull Ring, Austria. And then on the 21st of August, it's Borneo in the Czech Republic. It's Silverstone on the 4th of September in Great Britain. And then it's the San Marino Grand Prix on the 11th of September. 25th of September, it is the Motorland Aragon GP. On the 16th of October, it's Motegi in Japan. On the 23rd of October, it's Phillip Island, Australia, of course. And on the 30th of October, it's Sepang International Circuit in Malaysia. And then finally, the Comunitat Valencia Ricardo Torno, the Grand Prix in Spain there on the 13th of November. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, we've mentioned that Jorge Lorenzo is the top man at the end of the testing at Sepang. The Phillip Island testing obviously is coming up on the 17th to the 19th of February as well. So will he continue on his great run? Will he be world champion again? Or will Valentino Rossi, Marc Marquez, have something to do or something to say about that?
You're listening to Motorcycle Sports Radio, because two wheels are far better.
So that's about all we've got time for on the 2016 MotoGP preview on Motorcycle Sports Radio. Thank you very much for joining us today. We look forward to bringing you a roundup of all the race results once the season starts again. There will be a show that goes out on a Sunday evening, bringing you a roundup of all the results from the premier classes of motorcycle racing from around the world. I'm Sam McCready. Thanks so much for joining us. Wish you the best for now, and I'll catch you again soon. Goodbye.
This is Motorcycle Sports Radio, bringing you the best in motorcycle sports.
You're listening to Motorcycle Sports Radio. Remember to like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Motorcycle Sports Radio, and on Twitter, it's at Bike Sports Radio. That's at Bike Sports Radio. Keep it on Motorcycle Sports Radio.
You can also get Motorcycle Sports Radio on iTunes and on TuneIn. So don't forget, wherever you go, you can take Motorcycle Sports Radio with you.